What is going on, guys? It's Ren here. I'm bringing you Lifestone Episode 1. This series is essentially going to bring you Hearthstone gameplay with commentaries about real life over the top of it. So what this is going to include is educational stuff, comedy stuff, stuff to make you think, interesting topics, basically anything that applies to real life that I feel like talking about or addressing in the video using Hearthstone as a background for that commentary. So if you like this episode, stay tuned because this is definitely going to be an ongoing series with many topics and many gameplay videos. So in this gameplay, I'm playing kind of a gimmick rogue deck. It's basically Miracle Rogue, but instead of Leroy Shadow Step, I put in Molten Giants and Vanishes. So essentially, instead of trying to finish your opponent off with Leroy, you are trying to vanish the entire board and play two Molten Giants for free. Um, it's about as ineffective as it sounds like it would be. It's very inconsistent, but nonetheless, it's a fun deck to play, and I enjoy it. I picked this gameplay specifically, one, because this guy's deck was pretty awful, but he still hung in there. His deck was just very scattered with random weird things. And then also I pulled off a pretty nice lethal at the end with my back against the wall, so I figured that was worthy of a gameplay video. But what I want to talk about in this video is obsession. And I'm talking about the act of becoming obsessed, not the actual thing obsession, if that makes any sense. I just want to clear that up to begin with. What I'm talking about in this video is like the act of us humans becoming obsessed with something, not like presently being obsessed. Like, I'll just explain it. Like, I'm not discussing, like, Tom is obsessed with Sally because he likes her a lot. Like, it's how we become obsessed with things. So, the principles of obsession state that the more you interact with something, the more likely you are to become in tune with that thing in your own reality, and therefore the more fond or the more you incorporate that thing into your life, whether it's voluntary or involuntary. Um, an example of this is listening to music. How many times have you guys heard a song on the radio and you just absolutely hated it, and then the more you hear it on the radio, it gradually finds its way onto your iPod. This is exactly what the principles of obsession deal with. The more you listen to that song, whether you want to or not, the more it becomes intrinsic with your reality, and therefore the more you incorporate it, or the more that you let it become a part of you and a part of yourself, and therefore it becomes something that you look on more positively as opposed to negatively. So how does this apply to real life? Well, if you've done any research, which I have, being a guy that has grown up with some of the struggles of this issue, um, if you look into how to get women to like you, um, and what I mean by this is, like, obviously this doesn't apply to like marriages or um, relationships when people are older. I mean, like, how to get women my age to like you, which I'm 21 years old, so we're dealing with college chicks here. But basically, if I had to say it in one sentence, how you get girls to like you at my age is to do exactly the opposite of what you think that you're supposed to do. So that means be boring, uninteresting, um, talk to them just enough to not lose their interest, but very, very little, so that you don't come off needy or anything. You can't come off too smart or nice or act like you're thinking about them at all. And you're wondering, what does this have to do with anything in this video? Well, this deals with the principles of obsession in a real life scenario. Now, if you think about it, the less I interact with a female, the more she's going to wonder why I'm not interacting with her. So this obviously assumes that we have some kind of interaction beforehand. Like, I'm not just saying get a girl's number and then don't text her ever and expect her to like you. But I mean, assuming that you have some kind of interaction beforehand, the more you don't give her attention, the more she's going to wonder why she's not getting attention. And this deals with obsession because we all know that the more you get someone to think about you in terms of relationships, the more likely they are to actually end up liking you. And this is because they incorporate you into their own reality more often by thinking about you all the time. So just by the principles of obsession, if they're thinking about you more often than the average person, then they're going to like you or include you as part of their reality more often than the average person. Now, when you think about this example, we're talking about thinking and not doing or talking or interacting really. Um, so what this entails, and a conclusion you can draw from this, is that the principles of obsession work more effectively when they affect the subconscious of humans. Meaning that if we want to go back to the listening to music example, most of the time, unless you're actively listening to music that you know that you like, listening to music is a subconscious thing. Um, like the example I said with hearing a song on the radio. You're not choosing to hear that song on the radio, but it enters your reality anyway, so that is in turn affecting your subconscious. And that is in turn making it so you like that song the more you hear it involuntarily, if that makes any sense. Um, so these principles, as I just said, apply more so when they affect your subconscious than when they affect your conscious. To go back to the female example, them thinking about you often is going to include them more in, or is going to get you included more in their reality than talking to you all the time would be. And that would is basically what I said before, where you're trying to basically not interact with them, and that's how you get them to like you. But um, as an application to real life that I have taken from this is that we tend to mold to the reality that we form around ourselves, meaning that if you do drugs and hang out with drug addicts, you're more likely, I don't want to say to be unsuccessful, but you're more likely to behave and have the life uh, have the life of a drug addict, if that makes sense. If you do drugs and hang out with drug addicts, your reality becomes that of a drug addict. Similarly, if you think about something all the time, uh, the more you think about it, the more it becomes a part of your reality. And this is what I'm talking about with molding your reality with what you surround yourself with. Um, so this can lead to like positive thinking as an application. The more you think positively about something, and the more you act like that thing you're thinking about is positive, then the more your reality will shape around that principle and will in turn make your reality positive over time, if that makes any sense. That's basically the application I've found, is that um, your subconscious and your thinking and things you interact with without thinking about it can in fact mold your reality and shape how you are interacting with the world around you. Um, that wraps it up for this video, guys. As you can see, I get exact lethal with exact mana the turn after he plays Deathwing. If I didn't find that lethal, I could have banished and waited for another turn, but I did find it. So I hope you enjoyed the series, the topic, the gameplay. Let me know what you think in the comment sections. Give the video a like. Thanks, guys. Later.